Coming up on Fulton Today, Fulton County officially releases its early voting schedule just days before the October 15th start date. We'll take a look and find out what's different this time around.
As the county braces for a big voter turnout, it's also reminding citizens that those tax bills will soon be due. I'm Brian Robinson, and I'll have more of this story coming up.
And Fulton receives high praise for reducing its ecological footprint. That and much more starts right now on Fulton Today. Welcome to Fulton Today, everybody. I'm Shania Chavis-Rucker. The November election is still just weeks away. However, starting October 15th, next week, eligible voters will have multiple opportunities to cast their ballot early. 3 weeks, 20 locations, 11 outreach locations, and extended hours. Those are just some of the details associated with this year's early voting schedule. Joining us now to break it all down is the Director of Registration and Elections, Mr. Richard Barron. Rick, welcome back to Fulton Today.
Hi, Shania. Thanks for having me.
Well, we said early voting begins October 15th. When does it end, and what will the hours be?
It does begin October 15th. It ends November 2nd. Monday through Saturday will be open 8:30 a.m. to 7 p.m. and on Sundays from noon to 5. In the third week of early voting, we will be open 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.
And we'll talk about those outreach locations shortly, but first talk about why there aren't as many locations this time around.
Well, I wanted to have more early voting locations, but unfortunately this year, there are a number of libraries that we usually use that are undergoing renovation. Therefore, we had to use some locations that we normally don't use, and then some locations weren't available.
And now the outreach locations, tell us more about those, and what exactly is an outreach location?
Yes, we have 11 outreach locations. Those locations are open for 2 days, and they target 3 college campuses and 8 senior centers. Those are spread throughout the county, and they will be open from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. on the days they're open. If they're open on a Sunday, it'll also be noon to 5.
And Rick, hey, the good news about early voting is that you can vote at any location, but please remind our viewers about what they need to bring with them.
The best thing for voters to bring to the polls to vote is the driver's license, because the poll workers can scan those. Several other types of ID are acceptable, from tribal ID and passport to government issued employee ID or government ID. All of those are acceptable, but the driver's license is preferred.
And your final thoughts?
Well, if you need any information before you go to the polls, such as looking at your sample ballot, you can go to the My Voter page of the Secretary of State. If you want to check to see what early voting locations are nearest you, be sure to visit our website at fultonelections.com.
Registration and Elections Director Richard Barron, always great information. Thank you so much for your time, sir.
Always a pleasure to be here.
Well, have you paid your tax bill yet? The bills were mailed out at the end of August, so it's easy to understand how the deadline could just slip your mind. Well, just a reminder, they are due this month. And if you live in the city of Atlanta, you really need to pay attention to this next story. FGTV's Brian Robinson joins us now with more.
Now, whether you intend to pay here at the Tax Commissioner's office or online, Dr. Arthur Ferdinand says it's better to pay now before it's too late.
And I'll sign the order and best wishes.
When DeKalb County Judge Alan C. Harvey ruled in August that tax collection could proceed despite more than anticipated tax assessment appeals, these boxes containing Fulton County's tax bills soon arrived to the government center. Before those boxes could collect any dust, Dr. Arthur Ferdinand and his staff started working around the clock to send the bills out so residents could have as much time as possible to get them paid. For City of Atlanta residents, your bills are due Monday the 15th. With that deadline approaching, for some, paying online at fultoncountytaxes.org is a convenience. For those who rather pay in person, there are multiple options.
You can go to the North Service Center or the South Service Center. We have an office in Alpharetta, and we also have one in Greenbrier. And so you can go to any one of these offices to pay your line. Of course, there's always the main office in downtown Atlanta in the government center. So those are the places you can go to pay your bill. The hours for all those offices are 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m.
The money that's collected from your tax bill helps the county, its cities, and the school board function properly. Their services could be interrupted if your bill is not received by the due date. And there are consequences.
Well, it's important to pay early. You don't want to put it aside to pay later and you forget about it, because that could lead to trouble. You may get a lien placed on your property because you forgot to pay it. So I always recommend that you pay as quickly as you could rather than put it in the back of the drawer for a later time.
Dr. Ferdinand also says paying on time helps the school board avoid having to borrow money, something that could affect your child's education. Now, for those of you who live in Fulton County and the other cities outside of the city of Atlanta, your tax bill is due October 31st. If you have any more questions about the tax collection process, you can log on to fultoncountytaxes.org. Reporting for FGTV, I'm Brian Robinson.
All right, thank you very much, Brian. Speaking of the tax bills, Fulton's Citizens University students hear firsthand about the 2018 tax billing season during their class with the tax commissioner's office. That was just one of the topics covered when the students spoke directly with the tax commissioner himself, Dr. Arthur Ferdinand. Dr. Ferdinand also explained the services his office provides for county citizens and how the tax system helps provide funds for services that residents expect.
I enjoy doing this class because it gives me a chance to be a little professorial. I enjoy doing that. And also I like to see the joy on people's faces when they get information and understand why things are done the way they are done.
The class was appreciative that no question for the tax commissioner was off limit. His teaching provided a better understanding of the tax process.
I learned about how the taxes are dealt with by the tax commissioner tonight. All the processes and how they collect it, what the systems they use to collect it, how they're allocated, and just the different processes that are involved basically throughout the county, how these things get determined, what a CID is, what a TAD is. It's all really good information.
He believes in helping senior citizens. I learned how he handles their tax debt, liked how he doesn't sell their liens to private citizens. Also found out how private citizens can buy tax liens, and got his response on judicial interim foreclosures.
Next week, the students visit the county's justice partners. The Sheriff's Office and other law enforcement agencies across Metro Atlanta welcome some fresh faces to their forces. Family, friends, and colleagues gathered inside the county's Public Safety Training Center to watch their loved ones graduate from the Basic Law Enforcement Certification Training course. The cadets completed an 11-week, 408-hour training class that included firearms training, an emergency vehicle operation course, and an overview of criminal justice and procedures. Each graduate is affiliated with several agencies, including 6 with the Fulton County Sheriff's Office.
The past 11 weeks has been long. Many others would say that 11 weeks is a short period of time, but there was so much that was compromised in 11 weeks as far as, learning and working with my fellow colleagues, but I enjoyed it. I'm happy for this day, and we're here. We did it.
I joined because I used to work in courts, but I saw a need in law enforcement, so I just wanted to fulfill that need, and I think our community needs that.
We have 6 more deputy sheriffs that'll be able to come in and help us with our shortage. They've gone through 11 weeks of intensive training, and it looks like a good group.
After the graduation ceremony, the Sheriff's Office 6 new cadets were immediately sworn in and have now started their career development at the county's main jail. Those cadets and members of the Solicitor General's staff now have something in common. They all have badges.
Each and every document that we touch really represents somebody's life.
Solicitor Keith Gamage hosted a badging ceremony for his team inside Assembly Hall. The ceremony was an opportunity to reinstate the office's mission and goals, inspire staff, and celebrate everyone's hard work. Prosecutors and investigators, as well as administration staff, were each given a badge, lapel pin, so that everyone felt part of the team. The solicitor was proud of the combined years of service his staff has offered the citizens of Fulton County.
Hundreds of years of experience when we add up the experience just from prosecutors. One of them has 34 years of experience, a few more in the 20s, alongside people who have 1 or 2 months as a lawyer. And so to have the kind of opportunity to mentor and be mentored is something that's important and we think best serves our citizens, and to have that generational experience.
The Office of the Solicitor General is responsible for investigating, charging, and prosecuting misdemeanor violations. And coming up next on Fulton Today, details about an event that will help citizens better manage their homeowners associations. We've got that story in our district-by-district coverage next. The Fulton County Board of Commissioners appoint a new clerk, and Fulton's chairman gets a look at the property tax appeals firsthand. Here's this week's district-by-district coverage. We begin with Chairman Rob Pitts, who sits in on a recent meeting of the Board of Equalization. The Board of Equalization is comprised of property owners appointed by a Fulton County grand jury. Now, the board is charged by state law to hear appeals regarding property tax matters.
It was just an idea and a time for me to go and watch them, thank them for their service, and to find out exactly how the process works, and also ask them if they had any ideas, any thoughts on any changes that could be made, because if they do, we will try to implement those changes, because the idea is to make sure that it's a seamless, easy process for those who choose to go before the Board of Equalization.
The BOE hears tax appeals matters by Fulton County property tax payers that relate to value, uniformity of value, taxability, and the denial of homestead exemptions and special assessments. Property owners with questions concerning an appeal can contact the office at 404-613-7792. District 2 Commissioner Bob Ellis and Fulton's opioid coordinator Lynette Allen speak about the economic development impacts of opioid use at a national conference held in Atlanta. The Inclusive Economic Development Annual Conference planned a special session on this topic, and the executive director of Select Fulton, Al Nash, he facilitated the panel discussion.
What we talked about really today was certainly kind of the impact that it has on all our communities, with a little more specific kind of discussion around how it impacts the workforce, and then we shared a little bit with what we were doing in Fulton County within our own communities, and some information sharing back from the crowd as well. So that was the purpose of the day.
My message to get out to folks, of course, prevention and recovery are two of the main aspects, but definitely helping to erase the stigma that's attached to mental illness as well as substance abuse. But again, prevention, recovery, prevention awareness, and education.
The vice chair shared the county's efforts to deal with the crisis, including the drug disposal boxes, text a tip line, allocating more money for naloxone, and why the county filed a lawsuit against manufacturers of the drug. Homeowners, mark your calendars. District 5 Commissioner Marvin Arrington Jr. invites residents to the Georgia HOA Boot Camp next month. Like in previous sessions, this free event is designed to give citizens the tools they need to effectively manage their homeowner associations.
We try to get information from experts who can help our homeowners, and so we're very excited about it. We also have legislation that we've put forth before the state legislature in order to protect Georgia homeowners. And so we're going to be asking all Georgia homeowners in Fulton County and beyond to support this legislation that will help protect Georgia homeowners from community associations that have gone wild.
Now here are the details. The Georgia HOA Boot Camp is Saturday, November 10th from 8 a.m. until 4 p.m. at the Georgia International Convention Center. Free lunch and free parking is provided. You can get more details at hoabootcamp.org. Fulton commissioners named their official new clerk. Dr. Jesse Harris is now on the job following his late September appointment. Dr. Harris brings more than 15 years of experience in public service with expertise in both county and city clerk operations.
I hope to bring a sense of leadership to our support staff that supports the commissioners. I want to also restore the spirit of teamwork in this office and build a more cohesive environment so that we can be of service to the Fulton County electorate as well as our Board of Commissioners.
The clerk is appointed by the Board of Commissioners to prepare and sound their meeting agendas, keep the minutes of all board meetings, provide research of commission records, and assist the board with administrative and legislative functions.
I would like to thank Fulton County employees as well as our residents for the warm welcome into the Atlanta area. And I am looking forward to doing my best job in order to promote transparency within the department as well as support the Board of Commissioners.
Dr. Harris's background includes specialization in legislative functions and agenda management, as well as records management and elections administration.
I did it again. Yeah.
Now you can catch more of your commissioners at work all this week with the rebroadcast of the Board of Commissioners meeting right here on FGTV. And still to come on Fulton Today, some Fulton County properties are recognized for their energy and water-saving ways. Raging floods in nearby states has Fulton's health team urging residents to create an emergency preparedness plan. But now in this season, health officials say that should now include a plan against the flu. Wendy Smith is the administrator for the Fulton County Board of Health Emergency Preparedness Program. Welcome to Fulton Today.
Thanks for having me today. I'm great. Thank you.
Well, first things first, let's tell everybody what kinds of emergencies they should be planning for.
Well, here at the Board of Health, we are always preparing for a wide variety of emergencies. We are always thinking about weather because it can cause a lot of issues in how our daily lives are going, whether if there's school closures or business closures, things like that. But right now, one of the big things we're gearing up for in the Board of Health is flu season. Flu season starts in October and runs through the springtime. And of course, most viewers have probably heard that last year was one of the worst flu seasons in 40 years, with about 80,000 United States folks actually dying from flu. We think it's really important to make sure everyone knows that there's a way to prevent getting the flu, and we want to encourage people to go out and get their flu shots now before flu season officially arrives in Atlanta.
And speaking of the flu vaccine, how can families best prepare?
The most important thing to do to get ready for the flu season is to get your vaccinations. Fortunately, in Fulton County, there's a lot of options for vaccination. Our Board of Health clinics offer flu vaccine, local pharmacy chains offer flu vaccine, and primary care providers offer flu vaccine. So no matter what you're doing in your busy day, there is somebody close by that can get that taken care of for you.
And can you press a little bit more about why it is so important to plan for this flu season?
Flu is an annual epidemic. We know it's coming, and we know that we have members of our community who are vulnerable to flu. So the best thing to do is to get that flu vaccine for everyone. By not doing it, you're taking a chance that you're going to get the flu or that a family member will get the flu and share it with you.
And your final thoughts?
You know, we've been talking about the flu today, but of course we're still at the tail end of hurricane season. Everyone remembers that for the last 2 years we've had impacts in Atlanta from the hurricanes Matthew and Irma. So it's really important to maintain your personal preparedness for those weather-related events too. You know, make sure that you have a couple days food supply in your home in case we're not able to travel. Remember last year there were power outages and lines down, which meant that people couldn't get out and go places. So it's good to know that you've got a couple days food supply, you've got batteries for your flashlight and things like that in case your normal services are disrupted.
Thank you so much for your time. Great information.
Thanks so much for having me.
Now, to get details about getting the flu vaccine, just contact the Fulton County Board of Health. Fulton's Board of Health will celebrate the launch of an initiative called Fulton Parents as Teachers, and it's inviting residents to take part. The Maternal and Child Health Services Division says save the date on October 16th from 2 to 4 p.m. for the open house celebration at the Oak Hill Center. The team will cut the ribbon on the Early Hearing Detection Intervention Program's hearing booth, and they will officially launch the Fulton Parents as Teachers program.
The Parents as Teachers program is a nationally acclaimed program that is designed to enhance the parenting skills of parents. It is based on the premise that the parent is the first teacher of children.
Now, one more thing, the public is invited to this free event. If you have any questions, just contact Angela Walker via email or phone. And when it comes to the environmental health of county buildings, at least 5 of them get extremely high marks. During the Atlanta Better Buildings Challenge luncheon, Fulton was recognized as a top performer for producing the highest levels of energy and water savings.
This is our second year participating in this challenge. Today, Fulton County has won 5 awards for water conservation and energy conservation for 5 of our facilities in Fulton County.
The Government Center's Assembly Building, along with Central, Kirkwood, Washington Park, and Northwest Atlanta libraries, took top honors. As Fulton continues to update its system, it expects that list of county facilities to increase greatly over the next few years. And still to come on Fulton Today, Arts and Culture transforms its service vehicle into a piece of mobile art. Stay with us, everybody. Fulton County libraries are helping young children get a head start before setting foot inside a classroom. These youngsters and their parents at the Wolf Creek Library are taking part in a program called Learning Spaces. Sponsored by the United Way of Greater Atlanta, Learning Spaces is a school-ready initiative that creates structured early learning experience in non-traditional places.
We try to individualize the instruction so that it meets their needs. So we sing songs, we read stories, we build blocks with them, have lots of conversation, fine motor development, cognitive development. We try to reach the whole child.
The Learning Spaces program is offered throughout the metro area every Friday. To find out when it's available at a library near you, just log on to afbls.org. And finally, Fulton's Arts and Culture team is revved up about its latest public art initiative called It's a Wrap. The department's cargo van is now wrapped in a colorful artistic design as a way of garnering attention and enthusiasm for public art. It's a Wrap seeks to enhance the streets of Fulton County by deploying mobile works of art. Arts and Culture team members say their department's cargo van is the ideal canvas to feature the works of local artists.
So the artwork is by Zuzka Vaklovic. She's an Athens-based artist. It's an abstract piece that really allows you to maneuver it and rotate it without changing the integrity of the artwork, which is why it works so great on the van.
The Arts and Culture cargo van is used to transport art around the county and attend community events. The design will remain on the cargo van for at least 2 years. Now, if you want this van deployed for your community event, just contact the Arts Department. That is super cool. Well, before we go, our reminder that FGTV wants to connect with you online. Be sure to follow FGTV on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for up-to-date Fulton County news. And you can watch a replay of this show and any other FGTV program anytime on our YouTube channel. Well, that does it for this edition of Fulton Today. I'm Shania Chavis-Rucker. Thank you so much for watching. Join us each week for news around and about Fulton County.